We're going to begin the video. It's all about central message, okay?
I've been thinking, what could make a house feel too tiny? Maybe this story will help us find out.
So we're going to click it, and don't forget to put yourselves on mute, okay?
The Too Tiny House by Stella Wagner.
Oh my gosh, Miss Wagner! What in the world?
Before you read, do you know what the word wise means? If you do, tap the meaning of wise. If you don't, tap the question mark to learn more.
Now, let's see. It could either mean a wise person is able to lift very heavy things, or a wise person shares what they have learned. If you think it's A, type A in the chat box. If you think it's B, type B in the chat box. Go. Okay, I see some answers. Good. Good. All right, majority wins B, so I'm going to put B and see what happens. All right, back to the video. Nice.
That's it! Are you ready to read The Too Tiny House? Let's go!
All right, so listen up because I'm going to read it, and I'm going to try and read it a little bit quick so that we don't run out of time. It says, Jacob and Sarah have 5 children. Their small home is always crowded and messy. The noisy children play everywhere. Jacob trips over toys and shoes. He wishes for a large, tidy, quiet home. So Jacob asks a wise man for help. My home is cramped. My children are too loud. There's no quiet place for me to relax. Can you help me? And remember, we have an option here to see what the word cramped means. So let's click it. Cramped means crowded. Okay, so it's a crowded house. He said, my home is crowded. Perfect. Let's see.
How does Jacob try to solve his problem? Choose the answer that tells what he does. Add it to the chart.
So, how does Jacob try and solve his problem? And remember, his problem is that he lives in a very small, crowded, and messy house, right? Or that his house is crowded and messy. So, we have 3 options. Ready? A is Jacob asks a wise man for help. B is Jacob cleans each room in his home. And C is Jacob finds a quiet place to relax. So the question is, how does Jacob try to solve his problem? Go ahead and type in your answer, A, B, or C. And I'm going to pick the majority vote. Okay, I see some answers. Good. Okay. Ooh, this is getting tricky. Okay, C is winning, so I'm going to click C and see what happens. A was second place. So you guys said C? Right? Let me just make sure. Ooh, now I'm seeing a lot of A. Okay, I'm switching to A. All right, final choice. Let's see. Nice!
Yes! That's the one!
Good job if you chose A. Right? That's what it says in the story, that he went back and he asked this wise man for help. So the wise man says, I can. My advice will sound strange, but you must promise to do what I say. Jacob promises he will do it. The wise man tells him, bring your cows into the house to live with you. Now Jacob is confused. He doesn't understand how bringing cows into the house could possibly help. But he keeps his promise and he brings in the cows. Oh God.
What happens in this part of the fable? Complete the sentence.
So Jacob listens to the wise man's advice and brings cows in his house. So he's bringing the cows in the house, right? That's what he said to do. So, and he has to keep his promise. Let's see.
Correct.
The next day, Jacob wakes up to see a cow napping on his couch. Sarah pushes a cow out of the kitchen. The house is so crowded. Jacob goes back to the wise man. He tells him what happened. The wise man nods and says, "Now bring your goats into the house." Jacob is more confused, but he brings in the goats to join the cows. So now he has a bunch of children, a wife, cows, and some goats in the house.
How has the house changed since the beginning of the story?
So is there A, less noise, B, less space, or C, less mess? Go. Good. I see Alicia, Bernice, Jose, good, good. Joshua, good. Oh, I'm getting a lot of answers, but I think the majority vote might be B. Let's see. Okay, because at the beginning, there was something different happening, and now there's more things. So we're going to go with B, less space. That's correct.
You got it.
That's right. There's no less noise. There's more noise because now there's cows and goats. There's less space because now there's more things inside. So the next day, Jacob wakes up to find goats chewing on his blanket, his books, and even his hair. The goats have knocked everything off the shelves. The house is a mess. Jacob returns to the wise man. The wise man says, "Now bring the chickens into the house." Jacob is very confused, but he brings in the chickens. Honestly, I would have stopped. I would have been like, no, I can't do it no more.
What does Jacob do in this part of the fable? Choose the answer that tells what he does. Add it to the chart.
Well, the first thing he did was ask a wise man for help, right? Now what does he do? Now it says A, Jacob cleans the big mess in his room. Has he been cleaning? B, Jacob wakes up very confused in his bed. Possibly. Remember, the goat was eating his hair. Or C, Jacob brings many animals into the house. Well, that's also true because he's let in a bunch of animals too. So, what do you guys think? A, B, or C? Okay, I see some B's. I also see some C's. B, C, B, C, B, C. Okay. I think I'm going to go with C. I'm seeing a little bit more of C. Alexis, please. And Luis, just type it one time because you're going to confuse me. Just type it one time. So I'm going to go with C. I think that was the most votes I got. Ooh, nice.
Yes! Good thinking.
At this point in the story, he has brought in more and more animals, right? So the next day, Jacob wakes up to loud clucking. The chickens have made nests everywhere, in the lamps, in his shoes, even in his favorite chair. It's so noisy he can't hear his children when they shout, "Good morning!" Jacob goes to see the wise man again. The wise man says, "Take all of the animals out of the house." What? Oh no.
What does the wise man tell Jacob to do this time? Complete the sentence.
That was in the last paragraph, right? The wise man tells Jacob he should put all the animals outside, right? Take all the animals out of the house. That one's pretty simple.
That's right.
Jacob rushes home. He happily takes out the cows, the goats, and the chickens. That night, Jacob is home with only Sarah and their 5 children. He sits in his favorite chair. The room is neat and tidy. He reads a book to his family. The kids stretch out on the couch. There's plenty of room for all of them. Now they can have a quiet night together. Thanks to the wise man, Jacob found out that his home is just right.
Read the events carefully. What lesson do the characters learn? Add the lesson to the chart.
So at the beginning of the story, if we were to go back to the first event, because that's what we need to do at this point, we remember that Jacob said his house was too small, too crowded, too messy, and he asked the wise man for help. Then the wise man starts telling Jacob, okay, fine, bring in the cows, bring in the chickens, bring in the goats, bring them all in the house. Then Jacob, finally, the wise man tells him, now take out all the animals, right? What did he learn? A, to be good to all kinds of animals. B, to always keep your house clean. Or C, to be thankful for what you have. Go. think carefully. I see the correct answer already. Okay, think carefully. Okay, let me see. Now remember, this is a fable, so the character, Jacob, needs to learn something, all right? He's being taught something. Is he being taught to always keep his house clean? Did he really keep his house dirty all the time? Or was it just that there was too many people inside? Okay, so be careful with that one. I'm gonna go with, well, I see the majority vote is B. So I'm gonna put B just because that's the majority vote. And let's see if we're right. Nope.
Nope, that's not it. What does Jacob learn after he brings in all the animals and then takes them out again? Try again.
They highlighted, look, there is plenty of room for them all now. Remember at the beginning, he said that there was too much kids, too much of a mess. Nobody fits, but look at them now. They fit. They're still in the same house and they fit. The lesson that they learned is that you have to be thankful for what you have. Okay? Just because it's a little bit small or just because you think it's a little bit small doesn't mean it is.
Right. Way to work it out.
Okay.
Now we know how a house could feel too tiny. It's time for your next reading adventure.
So that one was pretty good, all right? They really went and showed us all the details in here. I'm going to share the tab on the book again. Okay, so go ahead and look at your books because now we're going to go through the pages that you need to do this week. And we're also going to check to see if we already did them because, again, since this is review, we might have already gone through some of this. So go ahead and grab your books and make sure you're paying attention. Andrew, please. All right, so we're determining the central message in whatever we're reading, and that basically means that we're using the key details and the events in the story to figure out what is the lesson, right? What are they trying to teach us, or what are they trying to get us to understand with the reader? So we probably went through this in the classroom, but if we didn't, go ahead and highlight that many stories have a central message or a lesson, okay? That's super duper important. Because we need to be thinking, right at the beginning, hey, before I even start reading this, I need to learn something. So I'm going to start thinking about what is it that they're trying to teach me. All right, you don't want to waste your time just reading just to read it. Read it the first time knowing what you're looking for. All right, then it says, I'm going to skip over a little bit. You need to look for those key details when you're reading so that you can find that central message or that lesson quick. Don't waste your time. Now, once you've highlighted those two, we look at the cartoon, which is talking to us about a lesson, right? This says, look at the cartoon, think about a lesson the boy learns by the end. In this first picture, he's saying, don't let me go. Don't let go of me, right? 120.
Miss A.
Yes. Don't let go of me. Then mom does let go and he realizes that he can do it. So if we're looking at this, you need to talk about the three details, the key details. In the first one, what can we write? We can write something like the boy is learning how to ride bike, right? He's afraid that his mom is going to let him go. Those are all things you could write. He's worried, right? He's afraid because if somebody's saying don't let me go or don't leave me alone, that means you're either worried or you're scared, okay? So that's what you could write in the first box. A boy is worried about riding his bicycle. In the second detail, let me write that in the chat. Just in case.
Said he is training.
That's okay, and you don't have to tell me right now what you're writing. When you send me a photo, I'll read it. Okay, so the first box, I'm going to write, a boy is worried about riding, oh, I wrote that wrong, about riding his bicycle. Bicycle.
Is that the second one?
That's the first one. Second one, we can say what? The mom